Howdy everyone, welcome back to the Country Chemist. Today I will be showing you my biogas digester. I hope you enjoy.
Most people think of chemistry as work that happens in flasks, test tubes, and beakers. However, a lot of chemistry actually occurs through nature, through what we call biochemistry. Various enzymes are very good at what they do. What I have here is called a biodigester, or also called a biogas digester. What this does is it takes scraps. Here I have some woolly croton, and I put it into a feeding tube. Once it's pushed in, bacteria will break it down. The bacteria for this actually was harvested from cow manure. The bacteria in a cow's stomach is actually good at breaking down cellulose and turning it into methane, which is the purpose of this. Here we have a feeding tube, and in the feeding tube, it's about 3 inches in diameter, goes all the way down to the bottom, and at the bottom there is a 45 to 60 degree slant. I'm not entirely sure how we cut it at the time, but that keeps food scraps from getting stuck in there. And you can feed this with anything, whether it be grass, leaves, sticks, cardboard, paper, anything that's carbon based, just about, will be chewed up by the bacteria. On this side we have another pipe that is for the effluent that comes out. For this, the hole that is in this pipe is about halfway through the container, because a lot of the lipids will float near the surface, a lot of the heavier stuff sinks to the bottom. So I decided to put the hole in the middle so that things that are better digested, that have roughly the same density of water, or is a salt that's been, so something that's been mineralized, turned into a salt, will dissolve into that solution and then come out of this pipe. On a good summer day, after feeding this water level will drop about a foot as a lot of gas pressure actually pushes out this fluid. As an added point here, make sure you have an opening near the top. If you do not, all the water will actually siphon out and you'll end up draining your tank. Or in my case, probably drain it halfway because of where the opening is at. But do make sure you have an opening here so it does not siphon. And then finally, the tube here that contains the gas. Currently I just have an irrigation pipe hooked up just for temporary use. That way I can bleed it off and burn some of it. CO2 is much better on the environment than methane is, so burning it is actually kind of recommended. The hole for this is near the surface, so all the gases up here will come into this pipe. And if I tried burning it right now, you wouldn't be able to see it because the flames are very blue, violet, ultraviolet. They're in that area, and the sunlight will actually make them disappear. You might be able to hear the gas, but there's no guarantees I'll actually be able to burn it. Yeah, it is burning right now. I can hear it, but you can't see it because it's too bright outside. That's okay. I will put in a video of the gas burning later. I will say there is an issue with this, that this likes to lean over, which is why I tied this here. The hope was that I could hold this upright so that it will drain effectively into here, otherwise it just pours all down the side. And at a later date, I also want to have some kind of drainage area made so that the sun can evaporate all this liquid away and I can get a powdered form of this fertilizer, which I can then either carry around easier, or I can then purify so I can use it for other plants. At the moment, I will only use this on non-edibles, yard, roses, etc. But once I start purifying it, I'll have other uses for it as well. But I do greatly love this because this is a wonderful, how do I put this? This is a wonderful way of showing biochemistry at work. It's fascinating knowing that I can throw food scraps in here and get a fuel out. Now I will say, natural gas is not that expensive, so you can argue and say this might not be very economical. However, I got this tank for free, PVC didn't cost much, and I have an unlimited supply of fuel, which I think is pretty great, and fertilizer at that. Additionally, when the winter months come, I will be using this to heat the greenhouse. I will have a storage tank to collect the gas, and then at night when I need to, it will be burned. Additionally, we can talk about the different kinds of gases that come out whenever you burn something. This burns with a blue flame. It is complete combustion, which means almost everything that comes out will be CO2 and water vapor. If you were burning something like kerosene or gasoline, propane, butane, something of that nature for a greenhouse, if the flame is not blue, your plants might be dead the next day. That is because incomplete combustion can form a product called ethylene, which is the plant hormone responsible for ripening, as well as for plant death. But since this is a simple carbon, it's methane, a single carbon compound, it tends to work very well for what it does, and it also burns with a blue flame. As a side note, I also want to point out that there is a small amount of hydrogen sulfide produced by this. It's the smell of rotting eggs. Hydrogen sulfide is a weak acid and will corrode metal, so you cannot have metal fixtures on this. They will corrode over time. That's why everything here is made of PVC or plastic. Now there are other uses for this. If you clean it up, if you remove some of the water and CO2 from it and purify it, it can be used for a lot of different things. In fact, I will probably be using this to melt metal later, maybe to cook food just so I can show myself doing it. And I have actually got a lawnmower to turn over a few times without gasoline in it by using this biogas to fuel it. And that's without me concentrating it. So I'm really excited to see where this goes in the future. I'm going to get back to feeding it because it hasn't been fed that much in a couple months, so it's a little unhappy right now. But I will get back to feeding it, and I will put that other video at the end so you can see the flame burning.